Reuters recently posted an opinion piece as a fact check for an article shared on Facebook. The Reuters, quote, fact check, is attached to this article on Facebook in an obvious attempt to end the debate about Saul Alinsky and his followers. This article is meant for discussion among opponents to the Democrats. This is made obvious in the opening statement, which is titled, quote, "Are we playing right into their plan?" End quote. At Facts Are Binary, we prefer to do fact checks that do not insert opinion. This is the only way to do an honest fact check, as we are not psychics and checking opinion is left to a higher being in courts, not writers of political propaganda. We will leave the opinion to the individual after giving them all the pertinent information in a cold way. Facts are, of course, not emotional and should be devoid of opinion. A simple true or false should be used. Plus or minus. Ones and zeros. So let's return to that title. The title is a question. While it is often a great tool for debate on a stage, fact-checking a question that does not insinuate anything to be fact, as the question is phrased, is not a legitimate fact check. The question is grammatically acceptable and sound. That is all that we can do here. Here the article states that Hillary Clinton used Alinsky's writings in a college thesis and Barack Obama in his books. Let's start with Clinton. The Clinton thesis is available online. The following are excerpts from the Clinton thesis as posted on economicpolicyjournal.com. There is only the fight, an analysis of the Alinsky model. A thesis submitted in partial fulfillment of the requirements for the Bachelor of Arts degree under the Special Honors Program. Wellesley College, Wellesley, Massachusetts. Hillary D. Rodham, Political Science. 2 May, 1969. This is the link. The link will be in the description below as well. Did Hillary Clinton write a thesis on Saul Alinsky? This is an irrefutable fact. Sticking to the straight binary facts, we did not find any references online where Obama directly quoted Alinsky in any books of his own. Barack Obama did in fact submit an article for a book celebrating Alinsky. While it is opinion to state Barack Obama wrote about Alinsky in his own books, and Facts Are Binary will not get into opinion or interpretations in a fact check, it would also not be factual to say Barack Obama did not write about Alinsky in any books. In Alinsky's own words, he speaks about seizing power and giving it to the people. It speaks of democracy and giving power to the people. This is a major foundation of Marxism, which the Reuters opinion piece denies. You can see it right here in Alinsky's own writings as part of the purpose of his book, Rules for Radicals. Alinsky states that he wants to take from the haves and give to the have-nots. Why don't we get into that fact check now, as we have established the original article is an opinion piece. It is directed at political action in which we have established the points made to be factual are just that. It is up to you to decide whether you agree with the premise. The Reuters article begins with the title. False claim. Saul Alinsky listed a scheme for world conquest, creation of the social state. This is a false statement. The original article makes no mention of world conquest. It is always a red flag to see a fact check not only begin with a false statement, but to engage in such a hyperbolic way. The original article only mentions the U.S. We can only determine Alinsky himself is calling for a social state. This is the very definition of a social state, and it is the stated purpose Alinsky gave for the book himself. We can factually state the premise of the entire fact check as outlined in its title is undeniably false. It uses intentional misdirection to distract from the Reuters writer's intentional lie that Alinsky did not intend to create a social state. Alinsky himself makes it clear it is the entire point of his book. We could stop here as the entire premise of this so-called fact check are false, but we will continue to see if the entire article is simply political spin. The first line from Reuters states, viral images on social media are circulating quotes allegedly attributed to the late American community activist Saul Alinsky. The only quote from the opinion piece is from Voltaire. It is difficult to free fools from the chains they revere. This is obviously intended to punctuate the article. It does not say it is Alinsky. The first line of the article is vague and gives no quote or reference. This is sloppy and not a legitimate fact check. There is no fact to check. Again, this is hyperbole. Again, the Reuters article creates a straw man argument. The article states, The images make the claim that Alinsky's work, in particular the book's Rules for Radicals and Reveal for Radicals, laid out 8 fundamental rules for creating a social state. The text in the images seems to equate these with the socialism or communism seen in the Soviet Union under Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin. Here. The claims attributing these rules to Alinsky are false. Aside from the fact Alinsky, again, laid out the purpose for his book was to create a revolution and a social state, the rest is nothing more than a straw man argument as previously pointed out. It argues a claim not made. Opinions are not statements of fact, unless apparently, you work for Reuters. The Reuters article quotes Alinsky on communism. The article is clear that they believed Alinsky was a socialist. This is another straw man argument. Alinsky himself made it clear his only issues with communism or socialism were dogma. Alinsky said he did not agree with any dogma. This is a perfect example of cherry-picking information to create a false narrative. While factually correct about the quote is irrelevant to the original article. This may be fine for an opinion piece, but it has no place in a legitimate fact check. The Reuters fact check goes on to lawyer their way through to convince the reader they are correct. This is what is great about a binary fact check. When you can prove something to be true or false, there is no layering required. This demonstrates the so-called fact check is nothing more than opinion. This is what they call in the business burying the lead. It is a fact Clinton and Obama wrote about Alinsky, therefore it is also a fact they were influenced by him. Obama voluntarily submitted an article for a book praising Alinsky. Clinton chose to write her thesis on Alinsky. This shows the entire so-called fact check was nothing more than political propaganda and spin. This has no place in a fact check. It also contains ad hominem attacks and more hyperbole. The term conspiracy theory is primarily used to discredit an argument without having a valid point. It's time to make fact-checking factual. This is not a fact check. Remember, if you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button, and if you didn't like it, thanks for watching anyway.